Okay, I'm not sure what that was all about, but let's try again. I'm like shaking from excitement, but that is awesome. Let's go. What's better than one Godzilla engine? Two Godzilla engines. So I just realized what's going on with this whole engine swap, and I always mention that this is my very first engine swap ever. I replaced engines before a lot of times, but never swapped a whole new engine into a car. So when I originally got this engine here that is in the Crown Vic right now, it was partially disassembled at one point, and then it was reassembled by someone in Michigan, and that's how I got it. So there were a few things missing here and there, like minor things, and then I have another engine here that we were using for prototyping as well. And what I realized is this engine actually had this trigger wheel back here, and then the flex plate would go over that. When I got my engine, the flex plate was on there, but I just remembered that I never saw this wheel, because if you look behind the flex plate while it's on there, you can see the teeth, and on mine I don't remember seeing any of that. And I haven't reviewed my other videos, but I'm pretty sure it's not there. So what I've learned is the Crown Vic runs on 35 teeth, and this one actually has 58 teeth, the original Godzilla trigger wheel. So why I'm not getting a crank signal? A couple of reasons. I don't have a trigger wheel at all on the engine that's in the Godzilla right now, which is what sucks for me, because I already assembled everything and torqued everything down. Like the transmission's back on, and the drive shaft is on there, everything's Loctite. Sucks for me, I gotta take it apart again, but at least I kind of have a plan now. And I think someone in my previous videos commented and said, don't forget the trigger wheel. To me, that meant nothing at the moment, but whoever it was, now it makes sense to me, because yes, I did not have a trigger wheel on that engine. And so at this point, what I have to do is I'm going to lift up the body on the Crown Vic and remove the transmission and get in the back of the engine again. And here's the plan though. This original 7.3 trigger wheel has 58 teeth, and again, someone in the comments mentioned at some point that the Coyote engine actually has 35 teeth, and that is what the 4.6 that was originally in the Crown Vic, that's what it wants to see. So here's the plan. I got a Coyote engine trigger wheel coming. It's on back order, but I should have it in the next couple of days. And also I remember, well, I installed a sensor off a 2019 6.2 liter, which is a 2-wire sensor. So if I put a Coyote trigger wheel with 35 teeth and a 2019 sensor, I should be getting some sort of crank signal, and that'll be a step closer to getting this Crown Vic running. If I'm wrong, I guess we'll find out, but that is the plan right now. So let's get this body off again and get the transmission removed. I hate redoing things, but I guess in these kind of builds you have to kind of do that. And I guess this is a lesson for me. I shouldn't have Loctite anything until it actually runs, and then I can go back and retorque everything. But I thought I was getting close to finish, so I actually went ahead and torqued everything down. But it's all good. This is still a fun project, and hopefully it'll be running soon. So let's get to work. And I can already see that this engine does not have a trigger wheel. So basically the crank position sensor was just reading air, and I'm over here trying to find the crank signal. What a stupid mistake. That's gonna, you know, cost me a bunch of time, but it is what it is. You live and you learn. So I still don't have the part at the moment, but I am gonna take the torque converter off and the flex plate, and then just be ready as soon as that trigger wheel comes in from the Coyote engine. I'm gonna slap it on. This is a 2019 6.2 liter sensor. That's a 2-wire, and that's what I need. I don't know which way it's gonna wire up, but I can always switch it places, switch the wires around up here and try it both ways. So that's what we got. No trigger wheel. Here's the original 7.3 trigger wheel off the other engine that I have, and it just fits right up there. And this is the 6.2 2019 and older crank position sensor. So I'm hoping that once I get the Coyote trigger wheel, it's gonna work. Here I have a slightly modified, this is a 4.6 trigger wheel, and on a 4.6 it's located on the front of the engine. And I try to modify this one just to see if it'll work, and the problem that I'm having is I could probably make it work with everything else, but the teeth are just so short compared to the original. You can see the teeth difference. They're just so short that they don't reach the sensor when I put it up. So it may or may not read. I'm going there. Okay. So I don't think it's just gonna read any kind of signal because the teeth are too short. So now I just wait for the Coyote trigger wheel, and that should fit right up. And we'll see what we can do from there. So now it's the waiting game. So we found the crank position sensor. Now we gotta see if the cam position sensor is somewhat the same on the from the 4.6 to the 7.3. So this is the original one from the 4.6. Let's walk over to the Godzilla engine and compare. So Godzilla engine actually has a 3-pin sensor, and it is located right under the water pump here. So I'm gonna see if I can take it out real quick and compare. So this is the 7.3 here, and this one here is the 4.6. So the 4.6 one is actually, looks like it's bigger. The sensor itself is bigger, but let's see if it fits on the Godzilla engine. It fits in the hole. Bam, the hole lines up. So this is, I don't know, is this an option? Can I just swap them out like that? Because the 4.6 is a 2-pin sensor, where the 7.3 is a 3-pin. So they're both the same length. I think I'm gonna swap them out and see what kind of results I get. The only problem is on the engine here, on the car, it's actually sort of buried already. So, but it's no big deal. I can just take the fan out. There's no coolant or anything, so I can just take the fan out, the reservoir, and I'll have access to the cam position sensor. Alright, so it's been way too long since I touched this Crown Viczilla, and it's been at least like 4 to 6 weeks since I even messed with it because I've been busy and been traveling and stuff like that, but that's irrelevant. So what I have here now is a 2019 6.2 crank position sensor. It's the same length, and it fits right up, and it's a 2-wire connector, and the Crown Vic 2009 has a 2-wire connector, so hopefully that works. Now the trigger wheel on the 7.3 has 58 teeth or so. I forgot, it's been a while. I counted them, I forgot how many there are, but so here is the Godzilla trigger wheel. It looks like cheese now because at a machine shop I had extra holes. Here's the thing. This is the 7.3. This here is a Coyote trigger wheel. Has 35 teeth. 35 or 36. Whatever. They're the same size teeth as the Godzilla 7.3 engine. And the missing tooth is right there and right there. So what I had the machine shop do is take the 7.3, put it on top of the Coyote trigger wheel, line the missing teeth up, and drill holes. So that's why it looks like cheese. Let's see. Yeah, this should line up. And it, what? Why doesn't it line up? Okay. Anyway, it should line up. That was the whole thing. So all the holes line up. So now I can put this Coyote trigger wheel, which is, I believe, 2011 and up. I think they're all the same trigger wheels. And I can put it on the Godzilla here and just line up the holes and, you know, put the flex plate back on and everything like that. And I'm thinking I should get some sort of, maybe even try to fire or whatever. Just as long as the sensor cooperates and reads what I want it to read, it should work. I don't know if it will, but this is why I'm doing this, just to see if it will or will not work. So let's assemble everything back with the Coyote trigger wheel and go from there. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, I learned something, and, you know, we'll go from there. Alright, so let's get to work. Alright, so we got the Coyote trigger wheel. Line it up with the holes. I've got it marked. Then we got the Godzilla flex plate. And then we put all the bolts back. Let's try this again. I forgot to put this piece on, just like I did a lot of videos ago, and I had to go back and do it off camera, but always forget to put this on. Okay, back on the mark. Let's do this again. Flex plate, back on the mark, and now the bolts. All right, so here's what we got. I've got everything connected back, put the starter back on, got the transmission in place. I've got everything connected on the transmission. I didn't put the drive shaft in just yet because I could do that last. It's not gonna be drivable even if it starts anyways, because I have no steering still. That would, once it's running, that's gonna be my next step, is getting the steering figured out. And I think I have a plan. I'm just gonna extend the steering column and then trim this one, and it should be good. The problem is this header is just so big and the connection is right in the way of the header. So if I extend it and have the connection a little bit lower, there's plenty of room here, so that's no big deal. I can get that figured out. And everything else is hooked up under here. The transmission mounts back in place, so I'm gonna lower it, put the battery in, check some codes, and see what kind of signal I get, if any. I mean, we should be getting something at this point, so let's just lower it and go from there. So while the scan tool is going through all the modules, I'm gonna give it some extra juice because I'm pretty sure this battery was weak last time and I forgot to charge it. So got this big booster here, positive to positive, and make sure it's a good connection. And let's see what the codes are. Just gonna clear everything because the battery was out. Oh yeah, by the way, don't drill these yourself. That was my attempt and I failed. Doesn't matter how perfect you think you can drill on a drill press, it's not gonna work out. It didn't work for me. This was done by a machine shop. You can see they laser cut them or whatever they use. They know what they're doing. Alright, so power control module still has one code. Let's see what it is. Come on. Any day now. Okay, so the only code that popped up in the PCM is the P1000, which is when you clear the codes, that's what you get until you actually go through the drive cycle. So that's no big deal. That's the only code that was there for the PCM, which is good. And everything else doesn't really matter at the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to crank it and see what happens. I'm scared and excited at the same time. I just don't know how this is gonna go, but there's one way to find out. So I gotta try to get in here somehow. Alright, that was a tight squeeze, but I got in the car. So let's cycle the key a couple times. So when I turn the key on, I hear the pump priming, which it was doing it before, but I didn't have that trigger wheel in there at all, so it wasn't reading RPM, so it was shutting the fuel system off. So let's give it a try and see what happens. What is happening? Okay, I'm not sure what that was all about, but let's try again. Okay. That was scary. Well, let me go check. No way! Let's go! Yes! Finally! First fire up on a stock PCM on a 2009 Crown Vic with the 7.3 Godzilla engine. That is so awesome. Now that it's starting up, I can start tuning it and do whatever I gotta do with it, but this is exciting. I'm so excited right now. Wow, I'm like shaking from excitement. But that is awesome. Let's go. So there it is, a 2009 Crown Vic running with the Godzilla and the stock PCM that originally came with this car. This is just crazy because most of the people, I want to say like 95% of the people said that this will never run with the stock PCM. And yes, it doesn't run well, or I just don't want to run it for long because of the oil pressure. Once I lock out the oil pressure, then I can let it idle for longer, but right now that's all I can do is a couple seconds. But that's a huge step because most people said that this is not possible, and actually those are the type of people that pushed me to where this car is today. But so there you have it. That's gonna be it for this video. I think that this car officially earned its name today. There it is. And also a couple more stickers back here. Do It for Dale. I picked that up at the last Cletus and Cars in Bradenton, Florida. And this company here is the one that hooked me up with the new spark plug wires. You just remember to check them out. You can get any color. There's a bunch of colors to choose from, and they hold up the heat better than the stock ones. So that was the first thing I upgraded on this engine. They hooked me up with the set, so check them out. The wiring is a mess, but that's just gonna get cleaned up and that's gonna look good. So the only thing I don't have hooked up right now is the cam sensor. I just have it dangling here. So I feel like once I hook that up, it's gonna help me out as well. And then from this point, I'm gonna clean up the wiring. I'm gonna lock out the oil pump. And after that, I can start messing with the tune. Never tuned anything in my life, so that's gonna be another learning experience, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll have someone help me out, or it'd be fun to learn. I just don't want to blow up this engine. It's got 0 miles on it. It's brand new. So stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for the support. Later.